Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for my most popular video segment, the tier list, the Eternal Evolution tier list. This will be for May, even though June is just around the corner. We got 3 heroes in May, just the way that the weeks lined up, with Barag being the newest one here recently. And I feel like enough has kind of come out, and we know enough that's coming in the future to be able to place him on a tier list and have it be accurate for you guys. So this segment usually runs really, really long, so strap in, and we're going to go right to it. We're going to discuss everything, pretty much every class, every elite, every triple S. So this is my definitive tier list for Eternal Evolution. Like I always do, I'm going to turn my head off now. So if you want to screenshot this, now is your time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now let's discuss. So tanks, we're going to discuss tanks. Tanks are still kind of the easiest class to classify or to put into a tier list, because without Pandemonium, the tanks just don't go, right? So Pandemonium, if you're thinking PvP, if you're thinking PvE, if you're thinking the Endless Battles, which is the event battle in May currently, if you don't have Pandemonium, you're not winning. You're not getting a good score. Pandemonium buffs all of the tanks on a tank team. And now in this game, tanks and tank specific content are very important. So with that, Pandemonium is the top of the tier, or top of the class. I guess top of the tier for his class, for the tank class. Next, I put Womagon at a slight edge over Zeta. Now, both of them are great, and both of them, along with Pandemonium, make up the tank team. You need those 3 characters if you want to build the tank PvP team. Now, Womagon does more damage than Zeta, and he has lots of survivability. His kit's really nice, but Zeta is unequivocally more tanky. So I would say that both, I'm going to classify them both as 2A and 2B in their class, but they do kind of fill different roles. You can run Womagon on, say, Crimson Abyss 14 and pass it because he does more damage, and he is also really survivable to boot. Now, after those 3, it gets a little bit muddy. So I would say that these 3, Vagnus, Oisa, and Oak, kind of stand apart from the rest. In my opinion, Vagnus and Oak more so, or Vagnus and Oisa, sorry, more so. Vagnus has a lot of sustain. He is the free-to-play stand-in for a Womagon or a Zeta if you don't have one of them. He's the one that I would put on a tank team because he's got a lot of innate knockdown built into his kit, which synergizes really well with a tank team in tank content, and he's got a lot of self-preservation and self-healing in his kit, which is what you need for the new dungeons and the content that's in game. Oisa, I think, is still the best elite tank for PvP. I still use her all the time in end game PvP as such. That's why she has her spot on the list. And then they fall off. Oak is a little bit less viable than Vagnus or Oisa. He's still good given his revive mechanic, which is why I put him 3rd in that grouping, but he's definitely not better than Oisa and Vagnus. And then Queet, I used to have him butted up with Oak when I was running Queet with a tank team to go against like summoners or something, because he jumps to the back line. But now with Womagon, it's just like, no, bye. Just bye. We don't need him. It's just, we just run the 3 triple S and 2 healers and go, right? So Boar too. Boar does have some use. You know, you'd run him in a front line to kind of manage Leos on the opposing team, but in PvE content, you're not using Boar unless you're really early game, and so he does have a use, which is why he is where he is, but he can't go any higher than that. And then Hercules and Langle are trash. You can use them very, very early game, but that's it. Do not put a lot of resources into them. You'll be wasting your time and your resources. Healers. Okay, now I break out the support class into support, pure support, and healers. So Masrani, Miranda. Okay, here's the deal. Masrani is a better healer, and Miranda is a better support. Miranda, even though her shields count as heals, she can only apply 2 heals to the team, whereas Masrani is an AoE healer and he can cover a wide area. Miranda's shield is somewhat contained to a small radius around her. You can move it around a little bit, but not too far. But Miranda does offer really big synergies to the energy team. She ramps up their damage tremendously. And with her, if you get her to X30, you can put her with assassins to make them crazy. You can put her with hunters to make them nuts. She just elevates and makes viable other classes. But if you're just talking pure heals, I got to give it to Masrani. And that's why Masrani is number 1 in the healer class and Miranda's number 2. Tell me I'm wrong. Serena and Bada, in my opinion, Serena definitely better than Bada, even though she's an elite. She is a launch character that's still fabulous. She can still put out a lot of heals. She doesn't have a range on her AoE, so she can reach your heroes that are all the way in the back. She has an AoE defense up, which she works really well, say like on a tank team. And as well, Bada does heal a lot. She heals hard, but she's a single target healer. Her attack buff is, the range is so small, it's pretty much worthless. And then her little fountain doohickey that she spawns behind her, it's only got a 1-time use, or maybe it's a 2-time use at X30, but it's basically useless. She is the only SSS that is launched, or that has come since launch, that is effectively poop. But on a tank team, she's nice because she has a huge single target heal, and the tanks for the most part kind of heal themselves, so really she's probably going to be targeting Pandemonium because he's kind of a squishier tank. Loran, I don't want to put Loran as trash, because if you're a beginning player, if you're a new player, if you're early mid game, you're still going to use Loran because you do need more healers. And some people like to use Loran on their arena teams, even to this day at endgame. So as such, that's why I've got him right in the middle. I didn't have the heart to put him maybe down here. If we get some more healers, he would definitely move down in this class tier. Energy, okay. Energy. This is a huge, long, big class. Last month, I broke out. I used to have this single target and AoE, but I've since last month actually broke it down by the in-game classes. So energy is a huge class, but there's a lot of useless characters on here. Northeon is the best character in the game, hands down. As such, he is the best in his class. Then we get into the Luke and Ravenna argument. In my opinion, Luke, far better for PvP. Ravenna, really good for PvE. In PvP, she kind of just dies. But you do, those 3 SSS, Northeon, Luke, and Ravenna, make up the energy team. So they're all good. They're all top of their class. When they're all paired together on the same team, they're all amazing. But in my opinion, Luke is better. Luke has the ability to one-shot a character at the back line, be it Anpu or Daniel on a summoner team, with one shot, if you got him built correctly. So I'm putting Luke as the 2A, Ravenna 2B. Then, okay, this is... I used to be a simp for Nagrama. Because I used him a lot in early game, and you will too. If you get Nagrama early, you can use him in Sincero Marsh. You can use him on an energy bond or something. He does do decent damage, but it's limited to a front line kind of thin beam. Whereas Falvia and Kane are probably the best elite energy heroes. They reworked Falvia to make her even better, and her paired with Kane I am using to pass Sincero Marsh X level 1 with Northeon, and I was passing it before I had Northeon running Masrani and Ravenna and 1 copy of Miranda. But Falvia, very, very good. Kane, very, very good. Very, very usable for someone that doesn't have Luke or Ravenna. Can't do as much, which is why they're underneath them, but they are very, very good. And then Nagrama, I don't know, maybe I got to move him, but Nautilus and Sorietta. Okay, Sorietta is going to be any a new character, new account's main energy character right off the hop, because the game is going to give you a lot of copies of Sorietta. And Sorietta is going to get a lot of use on a free-to-play count in Disa Caves going right up until the X levels. Sorietta is going to be getting used on your Twilight Lands. You're probably going to use Sorietta in story for a while. You're going to use her a lot of places until you get characters that can kind of supplant her, namely Kain, Falvia. But Sorietta is not an AoE, just like Nautilus. Nautilus is kind of the SSS equivalent to Sorietta. They are single target multi-hit characters, which I used to have them down here with hunters, but we do have AoE hunters, so I kind of wanted to separate them out. Nautilus is good. The problem is he's a Twilight Lands reward, and by the time you get Nautilus Immortal, you're probably going to have characters that are better than him. He's still good. He used to be on the whale team for Guild Hunt way back when. And if I gotta talk about Northeon is also and Luke and Ravenna are also the spider boss in Guild Hunt as well. They're very used nowadays as well. But Nautilus, I'm just starting to use Nautilus since I got him Immortal on my free-to-play account. He's decent. He's not trash. Neither is Sorietta. That's why they're kind of middle of the pack. So we'll just leave that as it is. Just keep in mind the two of them are basically the same characters, just one's more powerful. Omar and Paluno. Okay, you're going to get more use out of Omar strictly for the fact that you're going to have him. The game gives him to you day 1 or 2, and you're going to use him probably in Sincero Marsh. You're going to use him for all of your AoE uses going on for the first month, maybe the first 2 months in this game. Paluno, if you get copies of him, and the game is going to give you copies of him as you pass the story mode. But the only place you're really going to run him is in, say, the faction mine in the soul mine on whatever days that is. And then you're going to get rid of him very, very quickly as well. You're going to run like Sorietta and some other Atlas characters. Vagueness, if you got Vagueness, right? Paluno is going to fall off very quickly. There was some niche use for him in Arena way back when, but that's gone now too with the way that the teams have all shaken out. So Paluno, well, I'm still giving him a slight edge. He's not trash. Him and Omar, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of resources on them. Definitely don't take them past X10 until you have unlimited purple runes or yellow runes. And then Murphy Row, Ornn, and Karma are all in the trash category for energy. Why? Because Ornn, there's nothing good about his kit. Karma, there's nothing good about his kit. They don't do any damage. They are basically useless characters. Murphy Row, it's hard to get copies of Murphy Row. And just kind of like Nautilus, how it takes so long to get him up to Immortal. By then, you don't need him. Murphy Row, that's almost right off the start of the game. Like, it takes forever to get him to Immortal. He doesn't do enough damage. He doesn't do enough. His kit is very useless. Murphy Row, Ornn, and Karma are in the trash category for energy characters. Hunters. Okay, Hunters, we still don't really know enough about. Hunters is the last class Internal Evolution that they have yet to flesh out. Now, we had at the beginning of the game, Emma used to be the hunter goddess. No one had more Prygor or Moriami because Prygor is a Twilight Lands reward character, and then Moriami is a Summit Arena rewards character, so no one really has Moriami. Even me, I still have her at like Legendary 2, I do believe. But Ryzeris, Moriami, and Prygor are the PvP meta arena team if you've got them built up sufficiently and you have their proper prototype. I'm still putting... I should talk about Ryzeris. Ryzeris was built to elevate all of the other hunters. You need her to pass Disa Caves. You're probably going to need Ryzeris to pass the last dungeon that is yet to be released in the Katosian Triangle, which will be a hunter dungeon, so she will be a mandatory character. I think they're going to release another hunter it'll be Ryzeris, that other one, and then probably Emma. They're probably, because Emma still does huge damage, which is why she's number 2, but Yeah, Razaris, top of the tier for hunters. I'm giving Emma the number 2 spot just based on how much damage she actually does. And she is still used at endgame by everybody. It's just that she used to be the go-to damage dealer. Now she's not. But she's still a good hero. And with this new gear that we get from the Thunder Cliffs in Katosian Triangle, I think hunters are going to get even better. And what they're doing, and I know why they dropped that gear set now, is so that we can farm it up, because we're going to need hunters in that gear set for the new dungeon that is yet to be released. So, Razaris, number 1. Emma, giving a solid number 2 in her class. I am giving Moriami and Prygor, they're going to be 3A and 3B, because they are currently the PvP meta hunter team. If you got them sufficiently developed, they are really good. They are. It's just that they're rare and they're hard to get. Taylor and Bot Mark II. Taylor is everybody's workhorse. Beginning game, mid game, even end game. You still need Taylor for the Guild Hunt Turbine levels 3, 6, and 9. So, and Bot Mark II, I still use him at end game in Disa Caves X3. So, those two, even though they're elites, are still excellent characters. Definitely build them. They have uses. You will use them until we get another hunter that's probably going to replace Bot Mark II. So next month in June, he might be down the list a little bit more. But for now, for right now, in the game, as of May 30th, 2023, Taylor and Bot Mark II are still considered good characters. And then we got a big gap, and then we got Azina. Now, you used to pair Azina with Emma in the Whale Guild Hunt boss. Now, Whale is an assassin playground. And as such, also given the fact that she doesn't have a place on the arena team, Azina's use case has kind of fallen off. She used to be the booster to Emma, and with Emma's kind of fall from grace, the use case for Azina is even less so. So while she is not trash, she is definitely at the bottom of the hunter class tier. Old John, they released Old John in Rise of Heroes. He can do some decent damage. You can get some use out of him. I do use him in one of my Ancient Altar teams on my baby free-to-play account, but he doesn't have a dedicated spot in this game, and I don't think he will. He was just kind of a cool-looking character that they released that didn't really make an impact. I know some people were hyped on him, and he just never followed through. That hype just died. So he's not trash because he can do okay damage. It's just that he does not have any real use cases, which is why he's not down here with Xander. Xander is trash. People better than me have tried to get some damage out of Xander, but he just sucks. Don't put any resources into him. Use him for food. And that's all I'm going to say about Xander. Okay, I'm going to move my head to the top left here. And, I forgot. There we go. Okay, so melee. Now, for now, I clump the Assassins and Vanguards in together because they are all melee type characters. Maybe in the future I'll separate them apart, but for now, I don't think that each class is big enough on their own to separate them. I can kind of discuss them all and kind of rank them as they are right now. Now, we just got Barag, literally Thursday last week. Today is Tuesday. So, what is that? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 6 days. He's been out 6 days. We'll start with Leo, though. Leo used to be the king of the game. He was the #1 undisputed champion, the best used, the most useful character in Eternal Evolution. People like to say Nord is. I think Nord is better. He does a lot more damage. He's got good survivability. But Leo is still an excellent character. People forget how good Leo is. He still has huge sustain. He does really good damage. He is a plug-and-play champ. And without him, well, I'd say without him, the Vanguards don't do nothing. But really, You need Barag in that Vanguard team too, but in a lot of cases, unless all the enemies are clumped up together or it's a 1v1 fight, Leo's still going to out-damage your Barag because Leo has the ability to bounce all over the map, get all the way to backline, heal himself up. The healers can be focused on your people more near the backline. Leo's just out there doing his thing, just killing people. So I'm still giving Leo the #1 spot in the melee class tier. Now, Rickert, Barag, and Dominic. So, you don't get as many uses out of Rickert or Dominic, but they do have use cases in this game. There is content specifically built for them, and they are damage monsters. You kind of want to run both of them together. They both synergize with each other really, really well. Rickert, I'd say, is more... He relies on all the other assassins for his crit rate. As such, he can put out insane crit damage numbers if you build him straight crit damage. He's the one that I would X30 first. He's the one that I feel is more important out of all 3 assassins. As such, he gets the #2 spot on this list. But Dominic is... he's very, very close on his heels. If not, could be an argument for making him ahead of Rickert. But for now, I think Rickert is still the next, the #2 best melee class hero. Now, Barag, when Barag first dropped, I was hoping for an OP character like Nord. He's not OP, but he is very, very good. He's got a new mechanic called Rage, where he wants to be hit. And once you get him to Immortal X30, he has massive survivability. And you need him. He is required for the new dungeon in Katosian Triangle, Thunder Cliffs, and it looks like we're going to need him for Twilight Lands in June. So if you don't have Crete, Leo, and Barag built up, it's going to be like Assassins in May. You're going to get stonewalled, and you're going to get shut down. You're not going to get all the rewards. And I was really impressed when I put Barag and Leo in front of Nord, Miranda, and Rez in story mode. Cleared a whole stage, cleared a whole level. I think it was 54. Just blew through it. That combination of Leo, Barag, and Nord just destroyed story mode stage 54, the whole chapter. I have become really impressed with Barag. He can put out some insane damage numbers. He has insane sustainability, self-regeneration. He's a good character. I would definitely recommend X30ing him. Now, I put him right in between Rickert and Dominic. I should really say that... Okay, I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit. Rickert, Barag, and Dominic, I'm gonna class as equally 2, A, B, and C. Because you need them for dedicated content, and they are just really good heroes. They did a really good job on elevating Assassins and now elevating Vanguard. With that said, now we move on to Bailey Hudson and Crete. Day 1 launch characters. Bailey Hudson used to be the best character in the game before Daniel, or before Leo, and before Daniel. Now, while his damage numbers aren't as stellar compared to Rick and Dominic as assassins, you still need him as the third SSS on an assassin team to feed both Dominic and Rickert. You need the crit rate on his build to make Rickert a god, and you need the actual crits on Dominic's mark to make Dominic's damage blow up. So when you see the damage meters and you see Rickert and Dominic just miles ahead of Bailey, keep in mind that both those characters need Bailey to make those huge damage numbers. Without Bailey, Rickert's not doing as much damage. Without Bailey, Dominic's not doing as much damage. So while people look at his damage compared to those two and say he's trash, he is required. He's still a good character. Everyone should get him for the assassin team. And I will say the assassin team, if built to max, like hunters, are PvP monsters. I have a dedicated video just on the assassin team. Just scroll through, you'll find it. It's Dominic, it's red, it's mean looking, it's scary, and they are scary as a maxed out arena PvP team. Crete, I think I had further down on here before, but now with the requirement of Crete in Thundercliffs and the looks like the requirement of him on the Vanguard team, I put him at an equivalent level to Bailey in the melee tier class list, or the melee class tier list. And now we really drop off. So I used to, beginning game, Rakana and Randall. I'm going to talk about, we'll talk about Nafeng. So when Nafeng was released, he was a little bit higher up last month and the months prior because you needed him on the Vanguard team if you were going to run Vanguards, because you were early and that was the only team you had, or you were doing Vanguard Bond in Twilight Lands. Nafeng came into the game and he replaced Artis on the Vanguard team, and he had synergies in his kit that directly buffed the attack of Leo and Crete. So he was decent as basically a support type character. Didn't do a whole lot of damage, but you wanted him on the teams just to buff Leo. Now you don't need Nafeng. You really don't. It's arguable. I'm actually going to put Artis up higher, and we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. So that's why Nafeng is down here. If you don't have Barog, you're still going to want to run Nafeng, and as such, that's why he's not trash. He still does his job well. He's just had characters come out that kind of shuffled him down the ladder. Same with Rakana and Randall. People were using Rakana in Guild Hunt Whale Boss until Dominic came out, and now he's just been replaced. He's an elite character. Randall's an elite character. Nafeng's an elite character. They still do their jobs well where needed. It's just that now we have much better options. As such, they're not trash, but they're down here. And then Artis and Guan Yu. These two as well, they're not trash. With the Rise of Vanguards, you want, for Thundercliffs, you want Artis in your team. If you have Guan Yu, you could probably run Guan Yu in your team. They're not trash. Artis, everyone's going to have. You can use him in a Vanguard team if you don't have Nafeng. If you don't have Barog, you still use him, but he's just not very good. He's not going to put out decent numbers. His kit used to be better. They nerfed him to try to buff the bosses in Guild Hunt, and they did that successfully. We've since gotten other characters that have made Guild Hunt kind of easy, but back in the day, Artis did have a use, and now, as of the last week, he does have a use case again. So he's not trash. Guan Yu is not trash. They're both kind of similar. They're both not as useful as anybody else, and as such, they're at the bottom of the melee class tier. Support. Okay. I used to say Hypnos was trash. Use him as food. Actually, I said that last month. Now, with the you can use him in the tank dungeon in Kitosian Triangle. So I've moved him up here with Artis, with Guan Yu, kind of because you can use them. I don't use him, but you can use him at endgame. He does have a one singular use role in this game. And Ruda, I put right in the middle. Why? I think he's kind of useless. I know a lot of people kind of like him. They like to use his control to kind of position for Daniel or for Nord or for Leo, but he's just taking up a spot on the board, in my opinion. Now, I can. There's enough options. I can slot somebody in that's either going to bring better support to the table, aka Miranda, or I can bring in another damage dealer to get the job done. Anaruda, he's also very not easy to get. He's RNG from advanced pulls. That's why I kind of got to put him right in the middle. You know, he's not trash. He's not good. He's just there. But Rez is amazing. Rez is used everywhere. I wish I had 3 of them. Rez, hands down, for what he brings to the table, he buffs everybody. He makes everyone better. As such, he is the top #1 spot in the support class tier list. And then we get to summoners who haven't changed. We haven't had a new summoner since Sorvali many moons ago. But summoners are how you get your leveling materials. Summoners do have a dedicated dungeon in the Kitosian Triangle. Summoners used to be required for Rise of Heroes. We're probably not going to see that again. And summoners, if you have Daniel, Ampu, and Sorvali with, say, Mazrani and Leo, can get you through the first 15 stages of Twilight Lands almost by themselves. So as such, I am giving Daniel the edge in the first spot in the summoner class tier list. But I could make an argument that Amp would be #1 because Amp, Anpu brings all the damage, and he's got really good control in PvP. But Daniel has, in some cases, better damage. He's also got some CC that he brings to the table in Arena. But then you also got to think for Anpu and Sorvali, you don't use them in Guild Hunt, whereas you will use Daniel in the Guild Hunt Turbine boss. Anpu, Sorvali, great for Twilight Lands, great for the dungeon in Katosian Triangle, great for Crimson Abyss, but don't have a use in Guild Hunt Turbine. They just don't. Why is weird, but they don't. So as such, Daniel's number 1, Anpu's number 2, Sorvali's number 3, unequivocally. But then we get into Skewer and Hattie, Senway, Claza, and Muka. Okay. I classify all of these as 4th. All 4 of these characters get the same spot. They get 4th. Why? Skewer and Hattie, you have to have for Guild Hunt Turbine. Skewer and Hattie you can plug and play into other teams. As such, Skewer and Hattie is used right now in the Assassin battle in Endless Battles if you don't want to run the more superior but more complex manual team. Skewer and Hattie is the key to getting decent, respectable damage. I don't know whether or not we're going to get other use cases for her in the future, but she is still useful. Muka. Okay, so Muka is everyone slept on Muka, and I remember when Muka used to be trash, and everyone tried to make him do damage. Damage isn't his role. Muka's a tank, right? And as such, we've now finally discovered the use for Muka. We build him HP damage reduction. We put him in extraction gear or all vigorous gear. He is going to be your tank for the Mirage Space in the Katosian Triangle. He's going to be your tank for X level 3 in Terradome. Because he brings 3 summons that help take the heat off of everybody else. So not just him, but him and his wolves are what make him a good tank. If you bring him, you need him actually for level 15 Crimson Abyss. If you want to pass that easily, before we had tanks buffed and brought in as 3 units into Crimson Abyss, Muka was the only one. You had to have him X30, but he was the one that you could use to complete Crimson Abyss level 15. Again, Muka used in Katosian Triangle Mirage Space. Muka used in Terradome X3. He's a good character. My hope for summoners that will make them back to the comparable in the tops of the PvP rankings and the tops of the teams is if we get the next Triple S summoner is basically an elevated Muka. I want a Triple S summoner that is a frontline tank with a whole bunch of summons that can proc Anpu's damage ability. Okay, that's Muka. That's me singing Muka's praise. That one's for you, Cat Daddy, if you're still watching at this point. Senway and Claza. Still very good characters. They put out a lot of damage. I've for some reason, people are still wanting, and they are still X30 in Claza, because Senway and Claza do really good damage, and they are required characters for any Guild Hunt Turbine level boss stage. Wow. Okay, 33 minutes. I blew through this one this month. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is every hero in Eternal Evolution ranked with my thoughts and my descriptions and my reasoning for why they are ranked how I have them ranked. Again, this spreadsheet is on my master Eternal Evolution spreadsheet. It is linked in the description of every video, along with my Discord, along with my... there's a lot of stuff in the description. Just click it, give it a look. All right. Okay. This is it. I feel like it's very accurate. If you don't agree, say so in the comments. I'd like to know where I have fallen off. But this whole list is built holistically with, I'm trying to keep endgame in mind. I'm trying to keep beginning and mid game. Hence the reason why I have like Loran, Boar, Omar, Botmark 2, all those characters kind of positioned where they are. I think that this is a really good list. People seem to like it. I hope you can get some use out of it. I hope it helps guide your directions. I would check out, if you're checking out the spreadsheet, look at the X30 Hyper Evolution list too. That'll also give you, if you want to focus on a specific team, that'll give you some direction on who to X30 as well. I have my gearing spreadsheet on here as well. So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the tier list for Eternal Evolution from Dialer's Twi'lek Tactics for all of May. Now, I know June's just around the corner. I will update this as things change if we learn anything else. But as of the end of May, as of all of May, this is the tier list. When we get new characters in June, I think we'll get 2. I'll try to do one a week after we get our second release in late June. And that'll be the June tier list. So that said, the safe word of the day is pelican. Again, don't ask me why. If you've made it 35 minutes into the video, put pelican down in the comments and try to do it in a creative way. And I will thank you profusely. And with that said, thank you for coming, everybody. Hope you're still enjoying the game. I know I am. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Peace. Bye-bye.